Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Shalwani binti Muhammad Sa'ari and I am going to present about the financial statement analysis of Huatai Industri Berhad. Before that, let's look at the company background. Huatai Industri Berhad is one of the top and longest established biscuit manufacturers in Malaysia. It was incorporated in 1962 and listed in Bursa Malaysia in 1992. As one of the greatest players in biscuit industry, Huatai produced a wide range quality biscuits and marketed under the name of luxury. Its products include crackers, cookies, cakes, and assorted biscuits. Huatai has spread their wings to market their product domestically and internationally. Next, for the SWOT analysis, the first strength of Huatai is their strong research and development team. In order to improve their current product, their research and development division has continuously focused on market research in order to meet the needs and wants of the customer. The purpose of this division is they want to be more innovative and creative in developing new product so that they can increase the number of production and reduce the cost of the product without compromising the quality. The second strength of Huatai is it has successfully marketed the product domestically and internationally. A total of 40% of the production is exported to many countries such as China, Middle East, Nigeria, and 30 other countries. In order to remain relevant in the international market, Huatai International Sales Team actively participated in international exhibitions events in order to promote their product with overseas buyers. Other than that, Huatai has been continuously spending on advertising and promotion activities such as price rebate, price contest, and others. For the weakness, the first weakness of Huatai is low customer retention. Local sales of Huatai recorded a slight decline every year due to less order received from OEM and East Malaysia customers. Many of Huatai customers have shifted to the competitors' product because they can produce a better deal than Huatai in terms of healthier choice of product, environmental packaging, and value pack. Next, poor selections of healthier product is the second weakness of Huatai. Although the company is quite dominant when it comes to produce a variety of biscuits, there are many other healthy alternatives that are arising on the market. Healthy food is currently one of the products that are being searched by the customer who are concerned about their health. There are few opportunities that can be grabbed by Huatai in order to sustain in the industry. One of the opportunities is following a health trend by the customer. Nowadays, there are many people who start to take their health seriously, including what they consume and eat in their daily life. The company may take the opportunity to produce healthy biscuit as one of their products in the market and penetrate the market since there are few competitors in producing the product. Moreover, Huatai also can use press or media coverage to promote the product and the company. The company should aggressively promote their products in order to attract more customers and increase sales. One of the actions that can be done to gain coverage from the media is by sponsoring any of the television program in order to be well known among consumers like Farm Fresh. For the threat for Huatai is its competitors. It will be hard for the company to attract the customer and compete with other companies since they have their loyal customer. In the food industry, it can be hard to attract the customer to turn to our products since the customer have different preferences, especially when there are several companies who produce the same product such as Munchie, Food Industry Studio Berhad. Each of these companies have their own loyal customer as well as relationship with business that regularly buy from them. This company also is not excluded from facing price fluctuations of raw material. The unstable price of the major component of their product, especially during inflation, such as sugar, flour, and packaging material, has led Huatai Industri Berhad to record a slight drop in the group's gross profit due to high number of cost of sale. Despite higher cost of raw material, Huatai Industri Berhad does not increase the price of the product because the customers might not be willing to pay more. Therefore, this issue has resulted in Huatai to record a decrease in the group's net profit. Next, I prepare vertical analysis for statement of profit or loss. Based on the statement of profit or loss, the revenue of Huatai has recorded decrease in revenue with insignificant difference in 2018 and increased moderately in 2019. In 2018, the export sales of company were reduced because of the drop of sales in Africa. Meanwhile, for local sales, the company had lesser order from OEM and East Malaysia customer by competitive market. For 2019, higher demand from the Middle East market and local market were the factors that led Huatai to record a higher export sales and local sales. The cost of sales as a percent of revenue has risen substantially from 67% in 2017 to 71% in 2018 and 2019. Decrease in revenue and increase in cost of sales has resulted in the company to record a decrease in gross profit from 32% in 2017 to 28% in 2018 and 2019. For other income, Huatai has recorded a decrease from 1.07% of revenue in 2017 to 0.99% in 2018 due to reversals of impairment loss for associates. profit. However, the other income in 2019 has increased to 1.44%. The other income for the company was primarily derived from interest earned on fixed deposit placed at financial institutions. For total expenses, it consists of selling and distribution expenses, administrative expenses, finance costs, other expenses, and net reversal or loss on impairment on financial instrument. Hua Thai has recorded total expenses at 29.98% of revenue in 2017, and the total expenses have been 33.29% in 2018 and 33.37% in 2019. The factors that caused the total expenses to increase every year were due to the fluctuations on the price of raw material and the weakening of Ringgit Malaysia against the US dollar. Furthermore, the expenses of Hua Thai were mainly from advertising and promotional expenses, staff costs, and impairment loss on trade receivable. Moreover, the share of loss as a result of associates has been recorded significant increase from 2017 to the next consecutive year 2018 and 2019. The increase of loss was due to decline in value of investment and financial difficulty that have been faced by Hua Thai Associated Company with each Shandong Le Hua Thai Food Industry Co. Limited. Next, the taxation of the company was 1.88% of revenue in 2017 when the company was making profit. However, in 2018, the company recorded a loss in the financial year, and this has resulted in the tax expenses of the company to be under 1% of the company's revenue. In addition, in year 2019, Hua Thai has made tax credit due to over-provisions of tax in prior year, and this has resulted in Hua Thai to have tax credit at 0.39% of the revenue of company in 2019. Lastly, Hua Thai profit for the financial year 2017 as a percent of revenue was 1.57%. However, Hua Thai has recorded losses for 2 consecutive years, which are 2018 and 2019. This has resulted Hua Thai to record loss for the financial year as a percent of revenue at 6.07% in 2018 and 3.39% in 2019. The decrease in loss in 2018 and 2019 was due to high tax expenses in 2018 and tax credit in 2019.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wani Razlin binti Wan Ahmad, and I will continue with the presentation. I will present the analysis of the statement of financial position for 2017, 2018 and 2019. Firstly, for the item of the non-current assets, there are several differences. Property, plant and equipment has been increasing in 2018 compared to 2017 by 2.1% since there are additional assets during the year. However, it is decreasing in 2019 by 4% due to the increase in the depreciation of the asset. For the prepaid land and lease payment, it increased from 1.54% in the 2017 to 1.63% in the year 2018 and reduced to 0% in the year 2019. The increases of the prepaid land and lease payment because of the amortization. The right use of assets for 2019 is increased to 5.56%, which represent the right use of asset under a lease contract. There are also decrease of the trade and other receivables from 3.44% in 2017 to 1.12% in 2018 and become 0% in 2019. This is because the number of anticipated payments that will be over a longer period of time is reduced constantly. There are also few items in the current asset that have a significant differences throughout the 3 years. Inventories have constantly increased from 11.96% in 2017, 13.90% in 2018 and 13.98% in 2019. This is because of the increase of the cost of raw materials, packing materials, work in progress and finished good of the company. For the cash, bank balances and the short-term deposits are shown to decrease throughout the 3 years. It is reduced by 0.16% from 2017 to 2018 and 7.14% from 2018 to 2019. This has happened because of the bank overdraft and the changes in the currency of foreign exchange. The company is also facing accumulated losses continuously increasing from negative 2.53% in 2017, negative 9.57% in 2018, and negative 13.18% in 2019. The translation reserve also decreased from 1.16% in 2017, 0.61% in 2018, and 0.53% in 2019. The company continuously suffered losses throughout the 3 years. For the non-controlling interest, the company kept losing their position from 0.03% in 2017 to 0.01% in 2018 and 2019. This is because the number of shares in the subsidiaries is reduced. For the non-current liabilities, the company is acquiring loans and borrowings. It has increased from 0.55% in 2017, it has become 0.95% in 2018 and 2.06% in 2019. Every year, the amount of borrowing is increased since the company make a loan for the business. For the current liabilities, the trade and other payables also have slightly difference in all 3 years. The difference between 2017 and 2018 is decreasing by 2.72%, but it is increasing by 0.7% for 2019. The trade payable owing to the third parties, accrued operating expenses, other payables, and refundable deposits are reduced from 2017. However, for 2019, the trade payables owing to the third parties, accrued operating expenses, other payables, and refundable deposits are gained in 2019. The loans and borrowings for the current liabilities increased from 21.47% in 2017. It has now become 24.30% in 2018 and 25.88% in 2019. Every year, the amount of borrowing is increased since the company makes a loan for the business.
Assalamualaikum everyone, I am Nur Adaria Zahura binti Muhammad Sabir. Previous presenters have already explained the statement of financial position and the statement of profit or loss. Now, for my part, I will analyze in detail about the statement of cash flow of Huatai Industries Berhad. Statement of cash flow is one of the financial statements that summarizes the amount of cash and cash equivalent that flows in and out from the company. It indicates how a company receives money from their current operation and how they spend money during a particular year. Statement of cash flow of Huatai comprises of 3 parts, which are cash flow from investing activities, cash flow from operating activities, and cash flow from financing activities. In Huatai Industries Berhad, cash flow from operating activities consists of depreciation of PPE and gain or loss on disposal of PPE. Next, cash flow from investing activities consists of purchase of PPE and proceed from disposal of PPE. Lastly, cash flow from financing activities includes repayment of short-term borrowings and payment of lease liabilities. Now, this is the important part of the analysis. As you can see from the table, the cash and cash equivalent at the end of financial year shows a decreasing trend from 2017 to 2019, where it reduced drastically from 11.3 million in 2017 to 9.5 million in 2018 and 5.8 million in 2019. This trend is related to the negative amount of net changes in cash and cash equivalent that hike up rapidly from one year to another. This means that there is cash decrease in cash and cash equivalent of the company. For a better and clear understanding, I have transferred the information into a graph. From the graph, we can see that there is a steep declining trend of cash outflow from the cash and cash equivalent from 2017 to 2018. This is because in 2018, Huatai has made a cash payment to the supplier amounting 2 million and paying tax amounting 1.2 million under operating activities. In 2019, it also shows cash outflow from cash and cash equivalent that is steeply declined from 2018. The major contributors to this trend are payment of short-term borrowings amounting 72.8 million and credit sales to the customer amounting 4.1 million. As a consequence, the cash and cash equivalent at the end of financial year shows a declining trend from 2017 to 2019.
Hello everybody, my name is Marina Balkis binti Abdul Halim and I'm going to explain on the ratio analysis. Altogether, there are 4 types of ratio analysis that we analyze, which are: first, liquidity ratio; second, efficiency ratio; third, solvency ratio; and fourth is the profitability ratio. But first, I will explain about the liquidity ratio. The first ratio is the liquidity ratio. The liquidity ratio is used to assess whether the firm has the ability to meet its short-term obligation when they fall due. In the first ratio, which is the working capital, the formula is current asset minus current liability. From this graph, it shows a decreasing trend from 2017 to 2019. this shows a gradual increase in current liability in Huatai Industry Berhad as compared to its current asset. The second ratio in the liquidity ratio is the current ratio. The formula for current ratio is current asset divided by current liability. Based on this graph, it shows that the current ratio decreased slightly from 1.30 times in 2017 to 1.25 times in 2019. Therefore, this supports the explanation in the working capital, where it also shows an increase in the current liability. The last ratio that we analyze in this liquidity ratio is the quick ratio. The formula for quick ratio is that current asset minus inventory minus prepayment divided by current liability. Based on this graph, it shows that the quick ratio decreased from 1.08 times in 2017 to 1.00 times in 2019. Therefore, this reduced the company's ability to generate cash with their most liquid assets. Therefore, this indicates that the company has built up too much inventory.
Next, let's continue with efficiency ratio. Efficiency ratio is used to measure a company's ability to use its asset and manage its liabilities in the current period or in the short-term period. Alright, everyone, let's have a look at the slide. In order to measure Huatai's efficiency in selling out their stock within the year, inventory turnover ratio has been performed. It can be concluded that in 2017, Huatai portrayed that they are most efficient in managing their inventory, as it shows the highest inventory turnover compared to 2018 and 2019. Next, for receivable turnover ratio, it can be seen that there is a steep decline in the number of Huatai can collect its account receivable during the year. Declining trend in the ratio indicates that it is not favorable for the company. As an evidence, in 2017, Huatai is able to collect his receivable about 3.17 times a year compared to 2019, where the collection period is 2.78 times. Next, from the graph, we can see that there has been a slight decrease in days sales in inventory starting from 2017 to 2019. This means average days required for Huatai's Industries Berhad to convert their inventory into sales grow significantly every year. High days in inventory indicates either Huatai bought too much inventory, which will eventually become obsolete, or slow sales performance of the company. However, high days inventory can also mean Huatai was keeping a high inventory level to meet high customer demand. In addition, days sales in a receivable of Huatai fell considerably in 2017 and reaching low point in 2018. However, in 2019, it started to rise dramatically. Last but not least, operating cycle indicates how long it takes for a company to turn its inventories into cash. For Huatai, there is a stable drop in 2017 to 2018 and a substantial growth in 2019. To conclude, in 2019, Huatai requires more cash to maintain operation, as it has a higher operating cycle compared to 2017 and 2019.
Coming back to me, now I will explain about the solvency ratio. The solvency ratio is used to indicate whether the company's cash flow is sufficient to meet its long-term liabilities and thus measures its financial health. First, we go to the debt ratio. In this debt ratio, the formula is total liabilities divided by total assets and times by 100%. Based on this graph, it shows a significant increase in the debt ratio from 54.5% in 2017 to 61.76% in 2019. This shows a gradual increase in the current liability is due to the increase in the contract liability from 2018 to 2019, as well as loan borrowings from 2017 to 2019. Therefore, it shows that the company has lower ability to pay off its liabilities with its assets. The second ratio is the debt to equity ratio. The formula for this ratio is total liabilities divided by total shareholders' equity and times by 100%. Based on this graph, it shows a significant increase of the debt to equity ratio from 119.76% in 2017 to 161.52% in 2019. The higher ratio indicates that the portion of the assets in the company is highly financed by the liabilities as compared to equity. And we can also find that in the annual report, the company states that the shareholders' equity is decreased by Rm 2.26 million in the financial year end 2019, an increase in Rm 3.26 million in total liabilities in the same year. Next is the time interest earned. The formula for times interest earned is EBIT divided by interest expense. Based on this graph, it shows a decreasing trend in the time interest earned from 3.04 times in 2017 to negative 2.49 times in 2019. This indicates that Huatai Industries Berhad is in trouble to pay for its interest expense. Based on the conclusion, the increase in the debt ratio and the debt to equity ratio and the decrease in the time interest earned put the company in a risky situation to meet its current liability and non-current liability, and it may affect the company's credit rating. The last ratio that I will explain today is on the profitability ratio. Profitability ratio is used to assess the company's ability to generate income to its revenue, operating costs, balance sheet assets, or shareholders' equity. First, in the net profit margin. The formula for net profit margin is net income divided by net sales. Based on this graph, it shows that the trend for the net profit margin in Huatai industry is not consistent. The ratio decreased from 2017 to 2019. This ratio is considered low since it is decreasing because of increase in the other expense of the company. Next is the return on assets. The formula is net income divided by average total assets. Based on this graph, it shows that the ratio continuously decreased from 2017 to 2019. This shows that the company is not efficient to generate profit by utilizing their assets. Thus, the company is taking more loans and is giving negative impact since it increased the burden on the company. Now, I will explain about the return on equity. The formula is net income divided by average total equity. Based on this graph, it shows a decreasing trend in the return on equity throughout the 3 years. This shows that the company has inconsistent growth, decrease in profit, in excess of debts, and have negative net income. Now, let's move on to total asset turnover. The formula is net sales divided by average total assets. Total asset turnover is used to measure the activity of assets and the ability of the firm to generate sales through the use of assets. Based on this graph, it shows that the total asset turnover decreased from 2017 and 2018. However, it increased back in 2019. This is influenced by a reduction of investment in associates and other assets that do not relate to the net sales. The last ratio that I will talk about in the profitability ratio is gross profit margin. The formula is gross profit divided by net sales. Based on this graph, it shows that the gross profit margin decreased from 2017 to 2018 but increased slightly in 2019. The changes in the gross profit margin is due to fluctuation in the price of sugar, flour, and packaging materials, higher advertising and promotional expenses incurred, and also not having gain from the foreign currency exchange on the export sales due to the strengthening of ringgit Malaysia against the US dollar.
Next, I will continue with the short-term future prospect of the Huatai Industry Berhad for the year 2020 and 2021. I will start with the impact of the current performance of Huatai. Based on the current analysis made from the year 2017 and 2019, we can evaluate that the short-term future prospect of the Huatai Industry Berhad. The export market contribute to the decrease in the sales from China and Myanmar markets due to the termination of one of the distributors due to the unsatisfactory sales performance. This is make Huatai expected to experience a low growth in the sales for the year 2020 and 2021. The company is unable to cover the highest spending of advertising and promotional expenses to boost the local sales. Therefore, they will increase the cost of the company in the later years. The company experienced a gradual increase in the liabilities to finance their assets. The current capital structure will reduce the net income and the cash flow of the company in the near future. Even though the debt financing does not dilute the ownership of equity in the Huatai Industry Berhad, it still provides a high risk to the company, since they must be repaid to the account payable in terms of the principal plus interest. As Huatai Industry Berhad is highly financed by liabilities instead of shareholders' equity, they must retain a good credit rating. However, the time interest earned continue to decrease. This may affect the effort to maintain a good credit rating in the future. In early 2019, the pandemic COVID-19 has been resulted the local and world economy to be badly affected, and Huatai Industry Berhad is not excluded from the experience this impact. The company may experience a worse drop in the sales and net income due to the lower purchasing power of the customers, both local and export sales. Huatai Industry Berhad may not be able to meet the current demand of the product due to the increase in the raw material cost. The overhead costs will continue to rise, and the company may have no choice but to secure more liabilities to keep the operations running smoothly in the year 2020 and 2021. Now I will go for the recommendation for Huatai future plan. Huatai Industry Berhad must ensure the safety of the employees in the workplace, as they are very valuable assets to the organization that hold the positions to lead a business success. Failure to do so will result in interrupted supply of products in the existing and potential customer. To retain their title as the premier and longest established biscuits manufacturer in Asia, Huatai Industry Berhad should start making risk assessment based on their business activities. The assessment should contain how the company will handle the spreading virus and approaches that need to be taken in order to avoid the members of the company being infected in the workplace. Huatai Industry Berhad also must focusing on the cost and profitability to generate more funds. It is a recommendation to address the liquidity changes to variabilize costs as much as possible, minimizing as well as eliminating unnecessary costs. It is recommended that Huatai Industry Berhad manage their overhead spending efficiently in order to keep a positive net income in near future. The company could optimize their production process by cutting costs for inventory and minimizing advertising and promotional expenses. They should manage to reduce and minimize their overhead costs over the years. They will have an opportunity to secure equity from the shareholder and will be able to maintain their credit rating in the future. Other than that, Huatai also are encouraged to develop a new strategies to operate the business in order to continue making profit during this pandemic COVID-19. Huatai should have expected that Malaysia and other countries will most likely implement movement control order as a preventive step to reduce the disease. In order to ensure the company objectives are met, Huatai must have a proper plan to anticipate and manage the risk. Effective risk management requires constant evaluation of internal and external risks and their potential impact on all organization activities. This will tremendously help Huatai to have an understanding to manage the risk, the impact of the risk, and develop a new strategies to avoid, reduce, and eliminate the risk to the business. Thank you.